Hey, welcome to Best Boys, a film podcast, an amateur film study podcast for the average Joe, the buffest buffs, and the cringiest bingers. I'm your host, JP, and I'm joined by my brother, professional Hollywood videographer,
Kory with a story. And he just got done with listening to his early aughts boy band CDs, getting ready for this. Because there ain't no bye, bye, bye. It's nothing but the return.
of the Mac.
Backstreet's back. It's the
Yeah,
Backstreet back.
Backstreet's back. All right, baby. We got a couple of fun ones, but sad ones for you today. With the Florida Project and Red Rocket. And if you know that we've been mentioning Red Rocket like every episode for the last like couple months, because I thought it was coming out, I think, before Christmas or around Christmas or right after Christmas, and then it just kept, like, I didn't see it in any theaters around here. And then by the time it came into theaters, we were right in the dead heat of the Omicron wave. And we just decided to wait it out and see when it was going to come on streaming. It finally did this last week. So here we are. Sean Baker. I've been a big fan of his since I watched the Florida Project from 2017, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think I got onto it late. I got onto it in like 2018. Not even late. It was just like the year after I think I first watched it. I went on my A24 binge, which one day I will make a video about, I swear. And I was so excited to see what was going to happen next. Florida Project is one of my favorites. I've seen it. This is the third time I've seen it. No, fourth time I've seen it for the podcast. It hits you right in the feelsies. It's so good. It's such an easy watch, and even though it's the length is not even a thing. A lot of people, as far as A24 movies, it's one I think that a lot of people have seen. Willem Dafoe is like, as soon as someone sees Willem Dafoe's in a movie, I think he's very popular. I realize, and
he's just associated with so many good movies now that it's just like
he's an excellent actor.
Yeah, like on top of that, it's, at least for me, if I see Willem Dafoe's in something, I immediately think it's automatically going to be good, just because I know he's great, and usually he's attached to like really good projects.
Yeah. Did you not know? What do you know? What did you know about Sean Baker and the Florida Project?
I knew nothing about Sean Baker. The only thing about the Florida Project I knew was last year you told me about the Florida Project, and all you said was it was just set up in these like motels next to a Disney resort, and then they did something like cool shooting wise for the end, and that was it. Other than that, I had no idea what it was actually about.
I think I may have mentioned the kids. I think I might have mentioned the kids. I feel you can't talk about this movie without mentioning the kids, but maybe I didn't.
I can't remember. It was last year, but the man though is this. I am so in after these two movies of just seeing what Sean Baker has to offer, and is like pre this, and I'm just so excited for anything in the future that he makes. I love his shooting style. I love like how he does this kind of like slice of life style, but it still has like a plot, like a main plot that is progressing at a nice pace. It's just
it's a little like it's got a little taste of like mumblecore kind of, but like with like where it feels like it's meandering and not going anywhere, but it actually it is. Kind of like Nomadland is kind of in that vein as well, where it feels almost real. I think Nomadland is a little more on the nose with it. But in ways, just with like more like having these testimonials from these real people like talking directly into the camera, whereas this is like a ton of real people, like there's actors peppered in throughout, there's a ton of real people, and I think that's what makes it feel so authentic. With Florida Project, the female lead, I know they found her on I think it was like on Instagram or something. She's was an Instagram model, and then obviously the the little girl, the main little girl. Is that Mooney?
That's Mooney, yeah.
Yeah. She's excellent. I don't know how what they did and how they found her, but boy, is she really good. And
Yeah.
she
A
kind of
lot of notes
carries
about
this whole movie for sure. Like it's really on these kids' shoulders, and she's such so funny. Like, you're just constantly laughing,
that.
even when things are sad. You're laughing, and then I think that's why it hit so hard later in the film.
Mm.
So just taking a look at some production stuff. So apparently, Shi Ching So, and I'm probably saying that wrong, but I did my best there. But she produces all of Sean's films, and I think she is actually in Red Rocket. She plays Miss Fan at the donut
Oh, okay.
place. And then I think that
Yeah.
Sean Baker wrote this with Chris Bergach, and he apparently they write all their films together. So I thought that was interesting. I heard it in a quick interview thing. And obviously this is an A24 film. And and as far as the cast, the only Bria Venate is who plays Haley Mooney's mother, and Brooklyn Prince is the name of the actress for Mooney, and obviously we mentioned Willem Dafoe. I also saw Caleb Landry Jones pop up as Willem Dafoe's son, and he's in a bunch of A24 stuff. He's in the Twin Peaks revival. He's a wild dude. He is definitely a wild dude. He's in all of Safdie Brothers' early films, and I really want to see it. The one they did before Uncut Gems, yeah, I really want to see it. But all right, how did you feel? Give me your deepest of feels about the Florida Project.
I think that this might be up there in my like top 5 favorite movies of all time after watching this.
No
I
arguments.
fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. This is so good. I cried so much. I laughed so much. I had such a like it all feels so real. Like the to what you were saying about they found the lead actress from Instagram. Kylie was looking it up after we watched it, and I guess like the director Sean Baker found her on Instagram, and because her Instagram like the stuff she was posting about like her life story on there was very close to what he was going for, and it just kind of was like a match made in heaven for this. And she took 3 weeks of acting classes and then went right into the movie. That's it. Which blows my mind because she kills it, absolutely kills it in this
Yeah,
movie.
she's really good.
It is so real feeling. You've seen girls in your life like that are exactly like her, and it's to a T how she's portraying it, and it was phenomenal. I just want to know how the kids were directed. If it was just let's just do a bunch, let's like these are some like hyper rambunctious kids, so let's just put the camera in front of them and let them just kids being kids, and whatever's funny is funny, or if they like fed them some things and then let them go, but like
I
everything was
imagine it's a
just
mix.
so yeah, it is
Because it
so
feels so good.
good.
Yeah, it feels so real.
How they like just all of the interactions with the kids and then with the adults is just so real. Like I love the relationship between Bobby and the kids. It is so because he's like the father figure in their life, but it's
Yeah, he
like and
really
he's
is.
doesn't want to be like he wants to be tough and all that, but at the same time he's not like he's looking out for them like secretly so much. But the one of my favorite scenes between the kids and Willem though was the ice cream thing where he's like one drop and you're out of here, and they're just being all cocky, like taking big bites of the ice cream as it's melting. Um, oh, so good. There's
Yeah,
just so many moments.
there's a lot of really good moments. I also I mean this is like I think of the when there's like a creeper, like a pedophile kind of guy hanging around the
Yeah,
kids,
yeah,
and he just like get the fuck out of here,
yeah. I
get
love
your
that he
soda
stretches
and
it out.
get
He's
out of
like,
here.
yeah, he's like, come on, I thought you were thirsty. Well, I'll walk you to the machine. Yeah. And then he gets the drink. He's like, oh, I thought you were thirsty. Aren't you going to open it up? Takes one sip, smack. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, so good. Willem Dafoe, it just looks like he was born to be a motel maintenance manager. Like his appearance and everything.
Yeah,
It fits so well.
he's got he's got a
He's
not
got
to
like a
say
blue
that
collar look to him, so
not to say
naturally.
that he's unattractive, but he's not a conventionally handsome person. And I
Mhm.
think that when he was young, he had an interesting face, and he got cast in a lot of like villainy kind of things. Like I remember when he was in Wild at Heart. But I think in his all, but now that he's aged, he has a face that definitely just seems like a regular guy that you could see. You know, like yeah, like you said, blue collar. Like he just seems like an average Joe kind of face. He's not particularly tall.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's not particularly handsome. And I think that really works, and it makes I'm always an advocate. I think there's way too many attractive people in movies, and I know in TV, and I know that that's partly because it is attractive people make you want to watch, and I think that it definitely comes from sex sells and all that, but and just
Yeah,
beauty
yeah.
standards, conventional beauty standards. But there are, I think there is a level of immersion that you can get when you cast people that look, not just act the part, but look the part. Um,
Yeah.
and
Looks like something you would see in your own area or, like,
in your
just
own
bro
life,
walking down
yeah,
the
it makes
street.
the characters more real, seem
Mhm.
more real, and I think both of these films, that's a big thing they have going for them in terms of immersion is they're excellently casted, and yeah, I think that's definitely a big part of it, and you're just kind of living in this world, and so the movie, I don't think we really touch base. You said motel in next to Disney World, so they're in a they live in a motel and they pay weekly or whatever, and it's in Kissimmee, Florida, right next to Walt Disney World. They can see Walt Disney World. Just have to do a little walk and they can see it.
Mhm.
And then some of the people that stay there, they might be going to Disney World. Also, you have a lot of sex work that happens in the motel, and tourists use that sex work, and that's a big theme of the movie. Sex work's a big part of it. I wanted to say that I looked at. Apparently, this is Tangerine. We mentioned right before the podcast, but Tangerine was the movie Sean Baker did before the Florida Project, and it is famously known for being shot on an iPhone 5 S. Three iPhone 5s, and I've heard of it. I think that you said you were familiar with that just because of that,
Mm.
not gimmick, but this what the way that they did it, and
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and I heard it was good. And I heard it was good. It was about a trans sex worker, I believe. Sex work is a big part of this movie, and actually in Red Rocket as well. So it's kind of like this trilogy. And Sean Baker, in an interview I saw, say that he wanted with these movies, he wants to make sex work not normalized in like a positive way, just like seeing it for what it is, and it doesn't. I don't think it glorifies it in any way. It's real. It's a very realistic portrayal of the bad, but also what like these people are doing these things to support themselves, support their families, and they maybe have made bad decisions and got stuck, and that's the easiest way to, or the way that they know to get out of it. Um, and I definitely want to see Tangerine after this. After watching now seeing two of his films, I feel like I gotta expand on that.
Agreed. The, I wanted to ask you about, do you think this movie is shot digitally or on film? Florida Project specifically.
I would assume digitally. I feel like the Red Rocket looked obviously on film.
So
Um,
I thought the same thing. Until you get to the night scenes, then you start seeing the film, like, scratch and dust errors, like, flipping on the screen, and then you start and after I paid attention to that, I started seeing it in the daytime. It is so clean and beautiful and shot because they must have just used a modern film stocks and modern lenses, but it is actually for both of the movies are shot on film, and it's just, uh, we've been see every all the movies we've been watching on film lately have just had, like, an awesome texture and grittiness to it, and this was, like, such a, nice, unique or a nice like fresh take on shooting film and having it be so clear that it almost feels like digital, but it still has like all of the awesome like film characteristics of like the highlight roll off and stuff. And I love the use of just like the static wides of the kids walking everywhere and
yeah,
everything where
yeah, they're
it's
like
just like
almost big
holds or it's
landscape
like a
shots.
yeah or it's like a 90-degree pan that they follow and all that
Yeah, yeah.
it just the combination of just all of that stuff creates such a like a unique look to it, and
And
this
it's so
carries over a little bit
colorful.
into Red Rocket, but
Both of
yeah,
these
it's just so
films, and it's like
saturated.
colorful slums. It's like
Mm,
beauty
yeah,
in this like it's like
mm,
low class beauty. And that's kind of
yeah,
definitely a theme with both of these films. Also, is it's like super colorful, and it's a very colorful world.
mm,
There's a lot of pink and there's a lot of green, like mint green,
yeah,
that kind of palette, and
like vibrant
and blue,
pastels.
yeah, like blues, like light baby blue.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's on the poster, obviously the palette that you were talking about. It looks gorgeous. It is really entertaining and engaging for a film that kind of takes its time and lets you both of these films. You're living in this world for a little bit, and it doesn't and with Red Rocket, we'll talk about this later, but they kind of it doesn't there will be points, there'll be narrative choices that'll just be quick, and like as long as it's all about you getting the information of what happened and moving on. And then there's things that like you get it narratively, but you're just sitting in it, or it just keeps repeating for a little while, like this theme, um this particular motif. um and with the kids, that's a lot. Like taking their trips to the ice cream shop and begging people for money, and messing around in the abandoned shed, and spitting
Lighting
and
condos on fire.
pranks. Yeah, yeah. Um, so like and then obviously the stuff with Haley, her journey, and she has her friend, and she kind of isn't in a terrible place, but she needs money, and she starts trapping out of her motel rooms, and it just things get bad. Willem Dafoe isn't going to allow that stuff. Bobby, and
Bobby Peru.
and she loses her friends. Yeah, Bobby Peru, and it's hard. It's hard, and you just love these kids so much, and you feel for the world that they're in, but they're happy, and they're this is what they know, and they
Mhm.
just want to be with their friends. They just want to live their life. And obviously, Mooney really loves her mom. And there are so many moments where Haley is shown to be a decent mom. There's a lot of moments where she's shown to be a terrible mom, but I truly believe there is a good mother in there. And I think this movie goes out of the
Yeah,
way for you to understand that. Like, she's making
yeah.
these choices to survive, and she is shitty in a lot of ways, but there is a good person and a good mother in there, and it's hard, and is you're supposed to feel conflicted when Mooney gets
Mm,
taken away. And I think the first time I saw it, I was like, yes, Mooney needs to be away from this lady, her mom. Like, this is bad. But then I'm realizing how traumatic it would be to be ripped away from your mom, and ripped away from your
no.
friends, and the world that you know, that you are fine with. You are not unhappy. You just
Yeah.
don't, because you don't understand fully what's happening. I think there's a
It's
lot.
funny.
It's complicated.
Yes, it's funny you say that because the Kylie and I's take after it was she was like because I said, "Oh man, I feel so bad for the mom for Haley and Mooney," and she was like, "Yeah, but look at all the fucked up shit she did. Like this is like she deserves this. She's a bad mom." But I was like, "Yeah, but to Mooney, all Mooney doesn't know any of the fucked up shit. All Mooney knows is that her mom plays with her, spends time with her, feeds her, and
Takes care of her.
is
Yeah.
never mean to her."
Yeah.
So in her eyes, she's a great mom and knows nothing, and doesn't understand why, because everything in her life, as far as she knows, is fine. This is what normal life is. And so you have that, and then everyone just coming on telling you unannounced that we're taking you away to a new family, and all like your entire world's getting ripped away. And then the scenes with Jancy at the end. Oh my God, just I couldn't stop crying. Um,
Yes, me too. I
it's
bawled
just
my eyes out. I think I
I
bawl my eyes out almost every time. This was the time I cried the least, but the first two times I bawled. Kids get me. I talk about this
yeah.
with Riss. Kids are usually a thing that gets me in films. Like sad stories.
Mhm.
Um, and
I think what I think what this movie I found so why I liked it so much and found so relatable is like you and I like we grew up in a mill town like we didn't grow up like this but we didn't grow up with money like we were pretty low blue collar
yeah, yeah,
and when we were kids like we didn't I never knew how poor we were until we were in like late high school And then dad and mom would start talking about old stories and stuff like that. But as a kid, like we had toys, we lived in a house, and we
I remember
took
the house
vacations.
when I was
But
little. The house was shitty, but then it
I just
was like
remember all the
slowly.
construction, like.
Oh, like even before it, but like I remember the house when they first bought it. It was
Mm,
I don't remember before that, but I remember being in the house when it. I mean, when the house didn't have rugs, it was just
mm,
shitty wood floor, and with the couches and the shitty old TV, wood TV.
mm.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely not a lot of memories of it, and our parents worked really hard to get out of that.
Yeah, I
But
like.
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say my memories of the house start with post the porch being turned into the like living room extension, if that makes sense. Like I that was already existed by the time I started having memories, but our bedroom hadn't been touched yet, and I remember Dad giving us hammers to hammer out our bedroom.
That was a
But
little
that's
bit
probably like the
later. That
earliest.
was a little bit
Yeah.
later.
Well, I'm
Um,
3 years behind you. Like my memories didn't probably start
but I
until
mean,
I
I
was
think
3.
that was like we were both in elementary school by that point.
Really? Hmm.
Yeah.
I do remember
But
the attic
anyways,
being renovated too. But anyways, yeah, sorry.
yeah.
Um, but anyway, that is relatable to me. Like having that, you don't really know what's actually going on around you. You don't really know, that like mom and dad are struggling with credit cards and when you were sick and stuff like that because we were kids and it just, it's all we know is just if we have a place to live and we have toys and friends and all that, then like life's cool. And just this is such an awesome portrayal of this on screen because these kids are just literally because they're so unsupervised, they're walking all over the world doing anything they want, having fun, only just unaware of that they're like everything is shit around them. But like it's all perspective, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what makes it hard. As these kids are having fun, and even though it's um like it seems hard to see from our perspective, like kids begging for money for ice
Mhm.
cream and living out of a motel room and just like seeing how they live with all the shit plugged into the bathroom
Mhm.
and like the hot plate and like they don't even and this is one thing I wanted to point out is both of these movies do it, but this movie is way more hits home that it is much more expensive to be poor. Like I
Mhm.
don't. I think a lot of middle class and up people don't understand that things are more expensive when you're poor. Like living out of a motel is more expensive than getting a cheap apartment. But you
Mhm.
know,
You need
or
credit.
a credit, a criminal history, background checks. Um,
Mhm.
it might be the security deposit. It might be there's so many things that are involved. It takes time to find a place, and there's just so much involved. And if you are in a hole,
Mhm.
if you've made bad decisions and you are in a hole, it is so much fucking harder to get out of it. Like every rung you are down, it is twice as
Yeah.
hard to get back to where you were. And this movie illustrates that so much with
Mhm.
the things that they have to do, and like, oh, they're getting free food from here, and they're the little things here and there that she does to get
Yeah.
by. But when you hear how much it costs for her to stay there, and you're just holy fuck, like if
Yeah.
that's what you're paying a week, like that's more than a month's rent. And I'm sure in Kissimmee, Florida, being close to Walt Disney, an apartment is much more expensive. Um,
Well, Kylie looked it up while we were watching the movie because she said the one when the power goes out, the one you hear the one guy in the background scream, "I pay $1,000 a month for no electricity." And so Kylie was like, "Well, that seems expensive for a motel." And she looked up what a one bedroom or a studio apartment is. It's like $800 a month. So it would be cheaper to get yourself a studio apartment in the same area than it would be to just
oh,
live in the
I think
motel.
the
But like you said, you
week
need
to
all the stuff.
and then just week to week living, I think is more
Mhm.
the way people make money and whatever, and they spend their money. It's like easier for
Mhm.
them to live than living by month. Like think about paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, yeah.
like if you are week to week, that like I know this is how much I need to get through this week, and then it's like hustling. Hustling life. Whether you're selling weed and your sex work or doing little odd jobs or selling shit. She does a few. She sells stolen goods or whatever. Um, Or no, she sells shit that she gets like in bulk or something, and then she like tries
Yeah, the
to resell
perfumes.
them. And like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like that's just the kind of things that people have to do to survive, and there's no shame in it. Really, like and it feels shame, like you feel shame that she has to do this stuff, but like this is, she's taking care of her daughter. She's doing what she
Yeah.
has to do to keep a roof and food and a roof over her head and food in their bellies, and that's like all you can really ask for. Um, and
Yeah.
I'm not to sympathize with Haley too much, because like that's, you can't. It's not a sustainable life. Like you have to get out of that hole, and
Mhm.
there's cycles of toxic behavior that just, if you can't break out of them, you're never gonna get anywhere, or you're just gonna keep falling down.
Yeah. Let's say her definitely her temper is like is what kept her. I feel like there were a couple times that she could have been set to like not coast, but just to be okay for a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
then temper gets the best of her and just
Pride.
burning a bridge, pride, bridges getting burned left and right. And it's rough. There's the scene with the when she pulls out her pad and throws it on the thing on the window with Bobby, and then you've got the stuff with at the Waffle House, and she's like all the pettiness, like all the stuff, like why are you wasting all of this money to be petty right now? And then you end up like destroying all of the leftovers that could have fed you and your kid for at least like another
Yep.
day.
Mm-hmm.
And just all of these things. It's like she's so close to being like to being fully on the right thing. It's like one step forward, two steps back with her though, throughout the movie. Um, but at the same time, like I also just couldn't help but feel sympathy, even though she's like, for how good of a mother she is, she's also equally a terrible person at times, and you're just kind of like I don't know, like the opening part of the movie with the spitting and the loogies, which is hilarious because the
Oh
first
my
line of this
god.
movie is the kids screaming, "The thought ain't shit, thought," and like
Yeah,
they're like
yeah.
3, 4 years old, 5 years old, and it's just so funny and jarring. And then you get your first um, you get your first impression of Haley as a mom, and she's just like, "Well, what do they do? Oh, all right, well, get some paper towels, clean it up," and like doesn't care, no like effort or whatever. Like they're kids, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. What am I supposed to do? And it's like
And
there's no
she makes them.
responsibility.
Yeah, she makes them clean it up, but that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I don't think she would have if Chancey's our
grandma.
grandma wasn't freaking out
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
I said Chancey like the Pokemon.
yeah.
Um, and
Um,
yeah. There's a lot going on though, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, me and Riss always say to each other, "Stupid thought."
it's so funny. I didn't know that's what kind of movie I was getting set up for. I mean, it was so good. Um, and there's just like the Hawk and Loogies on the car. But going back to the kids real quick, I forgot to I wanted to mention this when we were talking about them. When do you remember when you hung out with like a quote unquote bad group of kids at some point, and you know it, like that realization that like I shouldn't be here and I should go home?
Yeah,
I thought that was done so well with Jancy after they burned down that house.
yeah.
Like the fear that she had, she was like, I I just want to. I think I should go home. Or no, it wasn't when they burned down the house. Sorry, it was before that. I can't remember what they were doing. They were getting into some like sketchy shit towards the end of the night, and Jancy's just like, I think I should go
Oh
home.
yeah, I can't remember, but I
And
know what you're
I
talking
can't remember
about.
what it was, but yeah, and it was just felt so real. I was like, I've said that exact thing with that exact look on my face when I was a kid. I know I have. Like it's and it's so good. I Sean Baker, credit for, and whoever his casting director was, there's so much credit for the cast and the performances by these children, because like you said, they carry this movie. They keep it fun, they keep it lighthearted, they keep it like from being nothing but like sadness. And in such um hard, I can't, not uplifting, but it's hard to explain. Such a way that it works with everything that's going on to just create the ultimate like emotional pit. Um,
Yeah, it's just like a really good it's beautiful, it's happy and fun, it's sad, it's like dirty and
Mm.
um
But also clean, like from a like shooting style. Like it has all these
yeah,
juxtapositions working
yes.
with
I
it.
want I think that's like life. I feel like it's a movie that kind of
Yeah.
exemplifies the experience of living in the modern world. It's beautiful
Mhm.
and dirty and colorful um especially when you live in sunny, clear skies of Florida. And I
Mhm.
think that's why it hits. And it's very like in that melancholy but fun vibe that I really like. And it's good. It's an excellent film. I think that it's one of the best A24s. I definitely probably have it top in my top 5. Up there with Minari and The Lighthouse and um
Mm.
I don't even know what else.
Yeah, yeah, this is up there with Minari for me for sure. And Minari was my favorite, like one of my favorite movies that we watched last year. I still think
Yes, I think so. I agree. I agree. It's excellent. Is there anything else you want to touch upon with the Florida project? Any particular
Uh,
scenes or moments?
do you want to talk about the last scene with when it cuts from the film camera to
Yeah,
the?
yeah. I wanted to. That's what I was gonna get to next. Is the ending. So there's a lot of people that say the ending sucks. A lot of people
Really?
in the A24 groups I frequented and just and on Reddit and YouTube and I've seen that there are many people and you'll see it in letterbox reviews like excellent movie but the ending sucks. And I don't get they don't like that it breaks kind of the reality of the film and it turns into like fantasy at the end because obviously they can't just run into Disney World.
Mhm.
They don't have any. They're not going to be let in to Disney World.
Yeah.
So they kind of just like magically get into Disney World and they run all through it. And people didn't like that. And then they also hated the jar. They said that the switch to the iPhone was jarring. Um,
I agree with that part. Not the first part, but I agree with that. I was jarred when I was like, "Man, why this movie was so beautiful? Why did we just switch to a GoPro?" Is like what it said out loud when it happened, and then once it got into them into Disney, it hit me. It's like, "Oh, they stole this shot. That's why. This makes so much sense. This
Yes,
is so
so that's what
smart."
I was going
Like,
to say is that the reason why it was shot on an iPhone 6S Plus and they just snuck in or they went into Disney and filmed it without their knowledge. It's crazy that
mm.
you can steal a shot like that and you're still allowed to use it. Like can
Well,
you
they so what happens with something like this is it's one of those things where you just do it and ask permission later. So they do it, and then A24 picks it up for distribution, and then whatever studio is going to distribute it, they're going to front whatever cost it's going to take to allow that shot,
yeah,
or because it was shot on or maybe there's some loophole because it was shot on a
an
phone, because like
iPhone,
obviously you can shoot videos on
camcorders,
phones in the
yeah.
park.
And
In the park.
camcorders too.
Um, but to distribute it though, like I'm
I'm
sure either
sure yeah,
A24 or
yeah, it's
somebody
showing the Magic
paid after the
Kingdom.
fact. Yeah.
Um
But I don't think that I didn't take it as like this fantasy thing. I mean, you follow these kids literally running around going into anywhere they want the entire movie. So how is it become a fantasy? Like obviously, yeah, you
it
tickets to get in, but I could see two little tiny kids just sprinting under the turnstiles and everything to try to run in. And maybe there'd be people chasing them, but I could see them getting in.
I
And it
don't.
just
I don't, but I think that you're supposed to suspend it and it's not supposed to matter and it's supposed to be about like what it
yeah.
represents. Like that's what it was for me. That's
Yeah.
why it didn't bother me. It doesn't need to be explainable. It's just
Yeah.
what it represents and what it would mean for these characters and you're just supposed to like it's such a real movie, but and I get it for
Mhm.
people that are like want it to be consistent even in that ending, but that doesn't matter to me. I think you can do something more abstract or whatever you want to call that,
Mhm.
stylized in that moment. Especially that's why I didn't think it was jarring for me the stuff because like I've seen a lot of anime movies like End of Ava or something where there's just
Yeah, yeah.
random medium changes or like
Mhm.
it's animated and then it's like live action shit and then there's like a weird fisheye of something or like it's just like
Mhm.
that's why I was into it. And I could see it. It's not like it has a lot. I think some people have argued that it has a level of cheese to it as well, and I don't really think that. But
I
I
disagree.
think that me and you have a little bit of a higher tolerance than some. Um,
Yeah, it just seemed like the perfect, like, sweet ending for these kids. I mean, literally, Mooney's living at a place called the Magic Castle, and she's never gonna
yes,
see her friend again. Her mom's getting taken away. She runs away to tell her friend goodbye, and her friend's like, they live. It's established they live right next door to Disney. And it's like, as your friend, and you leave me forever, and you get the idea, let's just run away to go to the real Magic Kingdom, and they just do it. And it's sure it's fantasy, but I think it's a perfect ending. I think that is exactly what
perfect.
you
Wow.
need. I think it's exactly what you need to have some form of levity at the end after having Mooney just crying her eyes out, trying to say goodbye. She has her hand in her mouth saying, I can't say it, crying her eyes out because she
Yeah.
just doesn't want to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm tearing up thinking about it right now. And then Jancy's just like, I'm gonna take like here, you're my best friend. I'm gonna take the pain away, and that's what it is. And I don't know. I disagree so much with anyone who says the ending's bad.
Yeah, like maybe on the nose, maybe a little bit. I don't like for such a subtle, like a movie with subtleties. Like it just like
Yeah,
has this grand, big
you could
stroke to
afford
finish it.
that if you don't. I feel like you can afford that if you set it up right, one, which they have, and you haven't been using that as a trope throughout your movie. Like I think you can afford one big kind of grand thing
Yeah,
to.
I don't have a problem with it personally. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
present those arguments. I also disagree with them. I think it works, and I think the movie is so good. I think it is a nice little bow. It is a cute
Mhm.
bow to tie on such a cute movie, but it is
Yeah.
a cute adult movie for
Yeah.
sure. And it's just so real. And I think it's kind of nice to let these characters, um, you know,
Mhm.
like remove themselves from the reality,
Yeah, yeah.
for the
Let them have
finale.
this nice moment for you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yes.
That
Let
they've
them
had
have this. Let these fictional characters have this
excuse me.
fictional fun. Um,
Yeah.
all right. I think that was a great way to wrap it up. What do you think? What are you giving the Florida Project?
I'm gonna give it a 5.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
I don't know if that's a
whoa.
hot take or not. I'm in love with this movie. I wanna watch
I don't know. Hold
I
on,
just wanna
I'll
keep
look at it
watching.
after I give mine. We can look at it on Letterboxd real quick after I give mine. But I am giving it a 4.5, which is what I give always given it. I don't even know what I could say. I think maybe the ending was part of the reason. Uh, I think maybe, like I said, some of the things I just brought up, like maybe a little bit on the nose, maybe a little cheese, some of those things. So but it's not enough to bring a full point, even a full point down. It's one of the best A24 movies. It's one of the best films of the 2010s, in my opinion. Um, and everyone should check it out. It's essential A24 viewing, absolutely. Like
Yeah,
everyone always brings up the
100%.
Lighthouse and Midsummer and The Witch. Like this is in has to
Those are
and be in
great,
that
but this
mix.
is yeah, this
Like
is
Moonlight,
I oh, Moonlight is really good. Oh, man. Although Moonlight
Minari.
I think this is better than Moonlight, though, because of Moonlight's ending. I was a little,
I think I
uh,
like it better than Moonlight as well, but Moonlight is excellent.
so good, though,
But
so good.
those are like the big popular. Not they weren't just good. They're also popular. And I
Mhm.
think this is definitely in that mix. But all right, the Florida Project. Well, yeah, I said we were gonna pop over to Letterbox real quick, and I already have my Red Rocket
Well, when you're
score.
popping over Letterboxd, I was gonna ask you, our
Yeah,
last 5 that we gave was Power of the Dog. Do you think that this stands like, me personally, I think this stands as good as Power of the Dog as a
I like
5 out
Power
of
of the Dog better, which is why I probably gave it a 5. But I think that it does absolutely stand. So
yeah.
the average score
I
in Letterbox is a 4.1. Most people gave it a 4, but the second most is 5. Just looking at all my reviewers, they all gave it 5s, 4s, 4.5s. Um, and yeah,
a lot of people to below a 4 to pull it down to a 4.1 if the top 2 were 4 and 5.
I guess there's just a lot of there's a ton of 4s.
Gotcha.
Um, but all right, that is the Florida Project. So like I said, was waiting after being so hyped about this film. Watched it multiple times. Yeah, if with me, I really like a movie if I want to watch it multiple times.
Yeah, that's how I
That is like my barometer for like must be a favorite.
feel.
And so I was super excited for Red Rocket. Doubly excited because I heard that Simon Rex was the lead. And if you don't know who Simon Rex is, he has a very colorful career. You may, as Kory brought up before the podcast, but the thing that I think a lot of people of around our age know him for is being in 3 of the Scary Movie films. But I think people older than us might know him as a former MTV VJ. And in I think in the 90s. Yeah, it looks like he got on the MTV in the 90s. But apparently before he was on MTV, he was actually did work in porn.
Oh,
And
really?
yes, there are plenty of nude photos of a young Simon Rex out there. So again, there's no realism in this casting. And then he also is a rapper, most famous for being on the song "My Dick" with Mickey Avalon.
Wait, he's on My Dick with Mickey
Yes,
Avalon?
he's one of the people
Oh
that
my
rap on
god!
"My Dick."
Oh my god! That's
Yes.
hilarious. Oh man.
And then he also formed a super group called Three Loco with Andy Milonakis and Riff Raff.
He's just Three Loco as well?
Yes, he's named
Oh!
Dirt
I've listened to
Nasty.
Three Loco
Dirt
before.
Nasty is his rap name. Simon Rex was his actor name. Dirt Nasty is his rapper name.
Oh my god, I didn't think he was Dirt Nasty. When I think Dirt Nasty, I think of Pootie Tang.
Yeah,
Um,
not that Dirt Nasty. Different Dirt Nasty.
oh
Um,
man. Wow.
so I don't even know what he was doing around when this movie was getting made. I watched a um interview with it was like a panel with Sean Baker, Simon Rex, Susanna Sun, I think is the name of who plays Strawberry, and they were talking about how they got casted, and Simon Rex and Sean Baker was like, I already had him in mind. And our people. He said that someone related to him knows someone related to Simon Rex, and they reached out somehow. And Simon Rex's agent was just like, if you get offered a movie, you have to take it. So he took it before he even read the script. Because of where his career, I guess where his career is, he's just like, I need that money.
I mean, especially if it's from the director of Florida Project too, so it's like it's a no
Yeah,
question.
who knows if he was familiar with it, but yes,
True.
and
The agent would have to be.
yeah, that's true. The agent would have to be. But so then he said he read the script after, and he's like, oh, like this is what I'm playing. And I thought that was really it was interesting, and this movie is also excellently casted.
Yes.
Sean Baker is really good at peppering in, like I said, actors that fit with a lot of real people. And this movie is definitely also good. I'll just get it out of the way for those that wondered. I don't like it quite as much as the Florida Project, but I still think it was good. And it's still got that mix. It's like funny, but it's fucked up, real fucked up. Our lead is definitely a piece of shit. More of a piece of shit than Haley, I would say, objectively. I don't know about what if you would walk away with that. I've seen him described as anti-hero, and I don't think that he's a hero at all.
Yeah,
He's a grifter.
Yeah, he's such a great. Kyla and I had gotten to a little bit of not an argument of just like a discussion about how it ends because the argument of the argument wasn't whether he deserved to be screwed over by Lexi and them,
Because that
but
was yes. The answer was
but
yes.
yeah, yes, but it was more just like the motivation for screwing him over was more of the argument, whereas like because Lexi's doing it because he's leaving, and I just took it as she is doing this because the person who's been paying all the bills at the house and doing all the work or whatever is leaving. Because she, as far as we know, she doesn't know about Strawberry or anything else going on.
Then she doesn't really know.
But
I mean, she knows he's selling weed. That's about
yeah,
it.
yeah, but that's it. But it's like so it was like this what's it called, karma? Like this unintentional karma that her doing that to like completely fuck up all of his things, and screw him over deservedly.
I think she knew a little bit though. I think
Yeah,
that
that's what
Lexi knew.
Kylie said that she had to have been
Because
suspicious.
she asked Lonnie to pretty much tell her what he's up to, and then he told Lonnie a bunch of shit, and then I guess Lonnie went to jail. So,
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
but
Lonnie's stolen valor.
yeah, we're
Oh,
gonna talk about
that was a
Lonnie's character
dude.
because he's got a crazy trajectory narratively. And I wasn't sure if I liked it. I mean, I do like a lot about it, but I wasn't sure how much I liked it. But yeah, before we get into that, so basically our setup is Simon Rex is a former porn star, aged. And I know that male porn stars, you know, they can work for a long time as long as they're not ugly, and their dick still works. But so yes, he's shows up, walks to um his ex-wife's mother's house, and is trying to weasel his way in. And he seems like a professional at like, let me inside your house because once I'm inside, it will be much harder for me to leave. And honestly, the ex-wife and Lil, like they know that, but he still is able to weasel his way in anyways. I think that Simon Rex, like Haley, or what Mikey, like Haley, is he is an example of a person that you feel like you know in real life. You know, slick talking, you know, handsome but fucking obviously fucked up guy, and he's got charisma, but he's a piece of shit. And for some reason, he's able to talk and worm his way into people's lives, particularly women's lives, and freeloads or uses them for whatever ends. And then, you know, when he's done, he just leaves and abandons them. And
Yeah,
go
speaking of
ahead.
that, specifically, you and I know someone who that's all I'm gonna say. This reminds me
Yeah,
of too.
I invoked his name several times.
Yep,
In the
yep.
during it, he's not exactly the same, but
No, but there's so many things.
there's a ton of parallels.
Oh,
And just
so
like, and
many
I've met
parallels.
people that are like similar with our relative, but also similar with Mikey. Like I've you know, maybe friends have lived with a person, or you know, female friends have a guy they couldn't get out of their house, or just seeing people, you know, being able to use people, get men that are able to use people. And you know,
Yeah,
Mikey is not young. The actor Simon Rex is currently 47. I'm not sure
that's what I
what.
figured.
That's why I figured he's around there. So yeah, you know, it's a thing. And I keep Lexi is played by Brie Elrod, is his ex-wife. The name of ex-wife, and she has a great performance. A lot of the performances are great. I need to see Simon Rex getting a ton of flowers, and I want to talk about what you think about his performance, because largely it is excellent. But there were a few
Mhm.
moments with his monologues that I thought, like, I could tell, like, you're mostly a comedy actor and performer, and you don't engage with like more dramatic stuff as much. He definitely delivers like a child. Like his lines, like his
Yeah, yeah.
and then I think that he's done this. I've seen him do this in scary movies as well. The way he delivers lines, it sounds like an idiot, but he also sounds like a child idiot, like a man kid. Um, but he obviously has skills. He has charisma. He is talented in a way. But he just makes these terrible choices and looks for like the easy way out of the situation, and he builds up something for himself. Because me and Riss were like, when we were watching this, they're like, he's not gonna get a job. He's not gonna fucking do anything. Like he's gonna
Yeah,
try
I thought
to
the same thing at first.
he's not gonna he's gonna lie. He's a liar. Because I think the people that we know in real life, that's what they do, is just lie as long as possible. But he actually tries to get a job. He can't get a conventional job, so then he starts selling weed. And I thought that he was gonna run out on that Leandra lady. Who Leandra
Same.
is probably my favorite character in the film. Let's just be real. She's a badass. Uh, and So I thought he was gonna run out on her and smoke. She was like, I bet he's gonna smoke all my weed, and he didn't. He sold it. He's been saving up money, and we just know that he's saving money. He's paying for all the bills at Lexi and Lil's house, and they're happy with that. And he's just stacking money. And it's about a half hour, 45 minutes into the movie where we get to like the main, drama. I would say it's when he meets Strawberry. And before this movie came out, I was thinking, I've seen comparisons and thinking about narrative comparisons to Licorice Pizza, and I think this is an example of it. It just feels so much grimier because it is grimy. Like he's just straight trying to, groom her for sex work. She's a pimp, or he's a pimp.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, and it's not even like it's a like in Licorice Pizza, it's the age gap is still a decade, but 25 and 15 seems a lot less severe than 17 and 47.
Yeah.
And when that guy is also trying to just grooming at its finest to convince this girl to get into porn so that he can make money and get back to LA, which I really wish that they would have touched on more of how he ended up like hitting rock bottom, moving back to Texas. They talk about it a little bit, like he was MS-13 and got the shit beat out of him. But
that's like the kind of bullshit stories that those people tell, and you're not hearing everything. So I think that was done on purpose. And once we get to the end of the film, we're supposed to realize that he had some kind of scheme and tried to fuck somebody over, and he got fucked in the end. Like he made bad choices, and in the end he got his ass kicked. Like that's really all you need to know, because that's he's in this life cycle of doing this, like building himself up, getting having things, doing things, and then it all crashing down because of it's built upon fucking people over, or sex trafficking or whatever. So yeah, like, but before Strawberry's introduced, by all accounts, Mikey seems like he's not that bad. He seems like the movie spends the first act like building him up. Like he's down, but he's making better choices. He's changing. He is gonna pull himself up by his bootstraps and do what he has to do. And you feel for him until we meet Strawberry. And Strawberry, whose character's name is Rayleigh, played by Susanna Son, is a 17-year-old worker at a donut shop. And what happens is, to Lil and Lexi, he rewards them, or they celebrate that he has money by going to the donut shop. And boy, is Lil opioided out. Like she is like nodding off half this movie, and it's honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that, because Lil was a found, like a real person, not a non-actor. That's what you're supposed to say. She's a non-actor, and I wouldn't be surprised if she was actually like, on some pain medication for this, because like if you've been around older people on pain medication, it is exactly what it's like. They're like slurring and nodding off mid-sentence. But anyways, they're at the donut shop. They're getting him donuts, and now he's like, really, into this attractive high school girl that works there. And he hurry up and rushes everybody out and makes everybody hurry up and go home, just so he can immediately run back and try to hit on her. And she's not there, and he's like grilling the owner for her phone number and where she works. It's so aggressive and creepy.
Yeah, it's very predatory.
Absolutely predatory. And then he shows up with his stupid nice guy voice, and he eventually seduces her, and she makes the first move sexually, but it was definitely groomed, and it is just not cool the way that this has all gone down. Obviously, she's also 17, and they can make the point to tell us that she's 17 she'll be 18 in 3 weeks. So it is about as close as you can get to legal without being legal. And I'm not sure. He actually says that she's legal in the movie, so I'm not sure if Texas is different, or maybe he's just like rounding up that she's legal. I'm not
I
sure.
I mean, their age of consent is because Pennsylvania's technical age of consent is 16, so I would imagine Texas's is lower than ours.
Well, it's 16, but you have to be over. You have to be 21 or under to like if you're over 21, it's 18. Like to sleep with
Gotcha. Yeah, I
somebody.
know. I honestly don't know how the consent
Yeah,
law.
it's a people like to use that extra
Date
bottom
adults.
part as like it applies to everybody and it does not. Not that I yeah fuck.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I don't know.
he's a creep, and the whole middle part of the film is him seducing her. He's like lying about where he lives, which is funny because like she gets him to drop him off at this like mansion, and then he rides his
Wait.
bike away. And the halfway, the third time, there's just a lady, with a shotgun waiting for him, and then we find out that lady is the newscaster towards the end of the film for the car accident shit.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I pointed it out. I screamed. I'm like, "That's funny," because she's
Wow.
blonde. It's just
That's
dark. So if you
yeah.
didn't really pay attention, not that you didn't pay attention, but if you weren't really looking, you wouldn't have
Yeah,
noticed.
yeah. Wow,
Um,
that's even funnier because he comes outside when she's, like, right outside doing the newscast, like, towards the end of the movie. Like, this is after Lonnie's been arrested or everything, the news people come back to do a story, and I'm like, "Why is he like" he looks at her, and then he gets real nervous too, and I, like, didn't understand why. That makes so much more sense.
yeah, I just thought that was really funny. Um, and yeah, like so he's just really putting on this ruse, and this girl's falling for it. But then she reveals about halfway through the movie that she actually knows that he's a porn star, and like it kind of that she's still into it. She thinks it's hot or whatever. And then there's a lot of sex scenes, and yeah, that's all that happens. But during all this, Mikey has a friend that is named Lonnie, who's apparently the neighbor of Lexi, and Lexi babysat him growing up, and there's some stories involving that. But so apparently, Lonnie drives Mikey around for like errands that he needs, and in one part, the second or third time, he's like, "I'm gonna be gone all day. Like, are you sure you want to come?" And he's wearing a military uniform, and he's like, "Oh, you served. Thank you for your service." And he like awkwardly is like, "Yeah, thanks." And then there's like this weird scene in the mall that like hardly comes up again. Briefly, only is mentioned, where these guys that come up to him are like, "You're fucking stolen valor. You never served," and it's just so awkward and weird, and it's just like I don't know how I felt about it. Like it's like feels random. It's just to show
Mhm.
us this one thing about Lonnie, the character of Lonnie, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the story at large. And they mention it when the car accident thing happens.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what did you think about all that?
I mean, it seemed like it was a plot device, like, it was used to just get them out of the house because the car crash happens on the way home, um, from there, and so if to me, I just
No,
took it as
no, the car crash is later.
oh, that is like alright, never mind then, never mind.
Yeah, car crash is closer towards the end.
Yeah, I don't know then. I guess it was to just give Lonnie another layer of character development to just know who, like, what, because you never see Lonnie doesn't. He's always just at the house.
Yeah, it's true. You
Like,
never see
so
him
maybe
work.
this is just him, how he gets money, and then everybody has their own hustle.
No,
And
I don't.
people
No, I
down
don't think
there
that's what it is. I think that like when you don't have anything going on, that people put on military uniform. Like the whole stolen valor thing is people put on military uniforms to get um,
attention.
people like praising you and complimenting you and attention and whatnot. And
Yeah.
usually it's from people that wanted to serve and couldn't for like medical or mental whatever's issues.
Mhm.
And so I wondered if that's something like that, but yeah, it's random as fuck, and it's kind of funny because it's random. It's kind of makes it
Mhm.
weird. I do like
Yeah,
it for
I like
that,
this.
but I
Yeah,
just
I like the scene.
wonder. Yeah, I wondered about it. All right, all right. So yeah, Lonnie, our poor character Lonnie. While we're talking about him, towards the end of the film. So like they're having these discussions while he drives. There's multiple like driving scenes where Simon Rex is just going on this long tangent about the porn industry. And in the beginning, Lonnie's super interested in like Lonnie seems to indicate that he watches a fuckload of porn and he doesn't get
Yeah.
laid very much. So he is like super interested in all this and like he thinks Mikey's like a legend for this and like you're a fucking legend, man. And it's like all these long stories, and then like you can tell that Lonnie's getting a little bit fatigued, and then towards the end, he's like, "You're about to miss the turn," and like makes Lonnie take a sharp, get off on the exit from the far, get on the exit from the far left lane, and
I'd
apparently
say he doesn't.
cause.
I'd say he doesn't make Lonnie do it, but because he points directly and goes, "You're gonna miss the turn," but like real loud.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
Lonnie makes the turn. It's all like
Yeah,
Lonnie
yeah,
didn't
that's
look
what. He doesn't
weird.
like grab the wheel or anything, but it is
Yeah,
very um but
Kylie thought
yes,
he grabbed.
apparently there's like a jackknife. It jackknifes a 18 wheeler and it causes a huge 22 car pileup, and they don't show it. And then they kind of show us the aftermath later. And what did
Yeah.
you think? What did you think about them not showing it as it happened? And like
I
kind
liked
of
it. I like
you're
because you immediately cut to the reaction of them pulling over, like, I can't believe that just happened. I can't, and I'm assuming that I thought they just like maybe hit the tractor trailer and then we're doing a hit and run or something. And you don't really know the scale because of how freaked out they are, but there's no damage to their car until the fucking news report. And oh my god, I thought it was really funny. I very much liked what it because when they showed the news report of what it was, my jaw dropped. I was just like, oh my god, Lonnie's fucked. Like, and it's all just like if he wouldn't have met this guy and wouldn't have been chauffeuring around this asshole, it would never have happened because Lonnie, other than stolen valor, like they even say on the newscast that like Lonnie's like there's no priors, is regarded as like a good neighbor and just like a innocent person. But other than 2014, he had stolen valor charges dropped. But man, yeah, it's just so it's like a nice little of cherry of ridiculousness added on top of a like already kind of ridiculous things, but it was a satisfying scene for me at least.
yeah. I think we should talk about the Strawberry Mikey relationship as it becomes the focal point. Like that once they're actually like dating. Boys, it's just constant cringing during this whole
Yeah.
part. It is so hard to watch all of these scenes and just like hearing the lines and her responses are just like I was just doing that constantly in the movie. It's just so it's very hard to watch, but I think it makes it, like it's you want to know where it's going and like you think that you know where it's going and like so I knew something was going to happen, like he's going to have to get his ass kicked, but I didn't know that it was just going to be right at the very last minute. They're just
Mhm.
going to take his money and say, So the plan is once that Strawberry and Mikey are together, that he gets her to agree to go out to LA and become a porn star. And
On her
he's
18th birthday.
on her 18th birthday. And it's like they're so excited. He's so excited because he thinks he's gonna be an agent and like he's has a talent for he can find talent and blah blah blah. And then apparently we find out that Lil and Lexi have been talking to Leandra, who's been fronting the weed to Mikey to sell, and her daughter June and their son Desmond, and let them know. And apparently, in the middle of the night before Mikey left, they just come in and steal his money and the weed, and they give the money to Lexi, and then that's that. They kick him out, and that's how the movie kind of ends. What did you wait? How did you see that coming, or what did you think about?
I knew something had to have happened, like was going to happen, but I didn't think that that was going to be the thing. I thought it would have been something more on the Strawberry side of it, like a parent or something would have came in and found out and just like beat the shit out of him or whatever. So I
I
definitely
feel
was.
like that was too on the nose because he already got beat the shit out of earlier.
Yeah,
Like it's just like, what else can they
or like
do?
yeah, or like they make it to LA and then like the reason he left, like it comes back up or
I thought they
something.
were gonna make it to L.A. And then
Yeah,
shit was just gonna go horrible. That would
but
so the fact that they didn't even get that far, and that Lexi and Lil and they were all of these women were kind of ready to just like, nah, you're not doing that. I think that there's no coincidence that Lexi, Lil, and then June is obviously calling the shots of the robbery. Leandra's daughter, and Leandra, like it's all women. They're like, nah, this is not happening. You are not getting away with this.
well,
I
they don't.
don't.
None of those people know about Strawberry though.
No,
I
but
think.
you're still fucking over Lexi and Lil, who've been fucked over before by him,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah,
there's even more going on they don't even know, like all the creepy shit he's up to.
yeah.
And well, and honestly, I think they do know more than they say, because she straight up calls him a suitcase pimp,
Suitcase pimp.
which
Yeah,
is she'd have to know that he's grooming somebody, and they're getting ready to leave or something. She suspected that he was seeing another woman, when he was gone for that weekend.
yeah.
And so I think that it just kind of all built to that. I think she was, and like she was, like you said, she was asking Lonnie to spy, and obviously we didn't see Lonnie tell her anything. But like I think that she had feelers out there, and she was more ready for his games than that they thought. I think he thought as long as they had the bills paid, and he was helping her out around the house,
Mhm.
then there would be no more questions asked.
I
But
even think that if when he was telling Lexi that he was like going back to California, honestly, if he would have just omitted the California part, I feel like if it was just like, hey, I'm just moving out, I'm getting my own place, it's not working out or whatever, I feel like none of it would have happened. But it's the California part that creates that connection of like he's probably trying to go back. Like like my suspicions of him being with somebody else are probably him and somebody else going back to try to get into back into the
yeah,
industry.
back to L.A.
Um,
Yeah,
So I can
yeah.
see that.
What did
But
you?
man,
Sorry, go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say it's funny watching him run around at the end of the movie naked with his dick flopping around.
That
It's funny.
apparently is a prosthetic penis. I did look into that, because I was like,
So
this
many
is an
pathetic things.
abnormally huge penis, even for a big
Yeah,
penis. Like this is especially flaccid. Like
yeah, yeah.
people usually have some growth. They don't just flop at full length. Some people do. Don't. There's a lot of peni out there. But
Show of respect.
I wanted to ask you what you thought about the ending, where he, it's morning time and he makes it to Strawberry's house, and the door opens and he has this vision of her in a bikini, and then it ends. I felt a little bit unfulfilled by it, because
Very
it's very ambiguous about what happens. Does does it
because he
work, or does
cries
she?
when he sees her and like
I
I
couldn't
don't
tell
know.
if he was
I didn't.
crying or that was sweat, but I think there was one tear.
Yeah, he had a single tear coming down from her right. Like it was like she's so beautiful, or he made it to the promised land, or whatever. Kind of like is what it looked like. He like the I'm here kind of a cry. But I didn't really know if that was a vision or it's like the I don't know. I definitely was kind of. I said as soon as the credit it cut to black in the credits when I went, that's it. So I was like, I want to know how it ends.
I think we're
But
supposed to be like. I mean, I think it's safe to assume that this is just a cycle that's going to repeat for this guy. And even if she, runs away with him to L.A., that it's going to be bad. Like it's obvious it's his cycle. Like what he say? Like they just get, as soon as they get popular, then they fuck you over, man. Or as soon as they start tricking, then they fuck you over. He said like 3 different things. When a
oh yeah,
woman
he's the
does
one.
this, they fuck you
When
over.
he's the one specifically. I remember it was when a porn actress starts thinking like a hooker, it's over.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. He said that, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
there's another one where he said, once they get popular, he was talking about Jenna Hayes, or one of the ones that one of the porn stars that I've heard of, and
Hmm.
he's like, yeah, as soon as they get big or they get some buzz, man, they forget about you. Um, I think yeah, I think we're meant to assume it's gonna go bad, and it's just he's seeing this as his ticket, his golden ticket, and it's just gonna whether she recognizes it now that he's a piece of shit and doesn't go, or if it's later. But at some point, she's gonna figure it out, and he's gonna end up back at the beginning of this movie.
Hmm.
Um, But all right. Do you have anything else particular you want to mention about Red Rocket? Oh yeah. Let's talk about the use of the NSYNC song "Bye Bye Bye."
Yeah,
What
the opener and closer.
It's used 3 times in the film, and then Lexi mentions it when he's getting robbed. She's like "Bye Bye Bye." Um, and but they're in the middle. um Rayleigh is playing nude after they have sex. She's naked and she's playing it on the piano and doing a cover of it. And I read that apparently that they recorded a cover version first because they weren't sure if they were going to get the rights to the actual song. And then all 5 members of NSYNC had to approve it being used in the movie, and they did, obviously. I thought that
Wow.
was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
That's
and I don't fully understand the motif, but I think that it is especially interesting that Rayleigh is covering it, because it's like, well, in like the TikTok age, and this movie is actually taking place during Donald Trump running for presidency the first time, I think. It's that like
yeah.
they keep showing him on the news, so it's like 2016, so it's a little bit pre TikTok, I guess. But
Well, he mentioned the election being rigged, and I think that should be 2020
he
then,
did
right?
it. He did it the first time too.
Oh, really? Oh,
He's
Jesus
literally
Christ.
said it. That's why people were fucking idiots, because he said every election's rigged, even the one he won.
Oh my God.
He's like he said it beforehand in case he lost, and then he didn't
Oh my
lose.
God.
Yeah,
Jeez.
he's a fucking slime ball. Grift economy,
Uh,
nightmare alley,
uh,
Trump. Um,
the grift economy. Ugh.
so I
But yeah,
forgot what I
going
was
back
talking
to
about before you said
I
that.
I I
The
I
movie
didn't think
takes place in 2016, is what I was
yeah.
saying, and so like it's pre
Oh, bye, bye,
TikTok,
bye.
and I thought that it was interesting that she's covering a pop song from when we were young, um, but
Yeah, 'cause she's being 17, she would have been like a baby when those songs came
yeah,
out.
like a
So,
baby. Um,
but I'm wondering if in this I'm just thinking of this now. I didn't think of the movie, but I wonder because like it opens with "Bye Bye Bye," maybe because he just got kicked out of his place in LA and now he's gone, and then "Bye Bye Bye" at the end because he's kicked out of that place, and then maybe that's a foreshadow of her playing it to insinuate that it's not gonna work out like after the movie ends or something, or
yeah, and well, like it plays backwards at the end.
Mm. Yeah.
Also, and then I thought it would keep going in the credits, and it just abruptly stops.
Mhm.
Um, and then like it's just like really quiet in the credits, which it was cool because you kind of like left to kind of sit and think like, what the fuck was that ending, and what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah, yeah. Unlike like let's say like an ambiguous ending of like No Country for Old Men, where it just it ends on like a solid held shot with just the dude talking for a couple seconds. This, I would say, needed a little bit more just to kind of satisfy that ending. Like this doesn't make me want to rewatch the movie to see if it represents something or whatever. It just kind of feels
I think it's obvious, not obvious, but I think it's like at first you're like, what? There should be more, but there's definitely with the way they did the pile up, and there was a moment even earlier where like it was really quick cuts, and it was just enough to like information for you to know mechanically what was happening, but it wasn't important to the story, And I think
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
it's there. There's definitely a lot of implied shit, or like audience is supposed to just fill in the gap themselves a little bit. So like I get it. I don't know. I don't necessarily dislike the ending, but I don't know if I like it either. um I will say the film is a little bit long. Not because like the runtime is so bad, but there's just a lot of like repeating things. We get a lot of scenes with Mikey
Yeah.
and Rayleigh that are kind of just we got it. He's grooming her.
Yeah.
Um,
And unlike in the Florida Project with having repeating locations and scenes with the kids, this was just they just have her having sex usually every scene together, and it just
yeah,
like
there's like
it's
not it doesn't really
pretty
add there's not it doesn't really add anything after a
yeah,
certain
like
point. And I'm just okay. Here's just more of this. So I think the movie could have been at least 15 minutes shorter. Um,
mhm,
I've seen
I agree
some
with that.
reviews call it a little bit rambling. Um, I don't necessarily think it's that bad, but I could see that it could be tighter for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily like the worst that it's the length that it is. Like, I don't think it, like
No, it's not
it's
awful.
enough for me to yeah, I don't, it's not a make or break thing for the movie, but it definitely is, like, devalues, like, it by, like, a point or like, a half a
I
point or
think if it
so.
was leaner, it would be better. Like the film would feel better, stronger.
Yes, agree, 100%.
Um, um, there was
Uh,
something else I want to go ahead.
I was gonna say, while you were thinking, I would briefly, if we wanna talk about the cinematography, this
Oh, that's what I want to talk about is
film
the film, like the what it looked like the
yeah.
picture looked like the graininess of it, and
Yes. This is, where we had the juxtaposition of very clean film and very the Magic Castle and all that stuff is, like, it's very "clean," quote, unquote, from the outside, but, like, the things going on in it are not and kinda grimy and grungy. This is the opposite where it just goes full in on, I think, just the film how it is shot and the film texture represents the grime of the actual, like, neighborhood and lifestyle and everything.
yeah, when we put it on, I was watching the beginning and like the text, like the text,
Mhm.
opening crawl or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, the text is a little bit, out of focus or grainy. And I was like, did we accidentally buy this, the HD, regular HD or standard definition one or something?
Mhm.
And we double checked and like, no, this is the 4K one. And I was like, oh, maybe it's not buffered or something, or it's our internet.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, no, it just like once got in there, it's like this is the way the movie looks. So it's like very soft but
Mhm.
grainy, kind of not very soft, but a little more soft than I think a lot of modern movies. And yeah, it's grainy and but it like once you like you've settled into the way it looks, it's like there's a lot more like reds and oranges
Mhm.
in this movie. Green, I think green, orange, and reds, and whereas
Mm.
Florida Project with the the pink and the mint green and the baby blue and
Blue,
whatever.
like yeah, yeah. This is I think this is meant to feel hotter too,
Oh,
because
for
everyone
sure,
is sweaty and
everybody's
gross the
sweating,
entire movie.
and it takes
No
place
one
in
looks like they've
Texas, by the
showered.
way.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, but I
but
wonder to go back to the text thing, I love, though, when a movie will when the shot intentionally blur the text to make it feel like it fits with the texture of the film
it
grain.
makes
I
it
do
look
that
like an
personally.
old. It makes it look like an older
Yeah,
movie. It made it look like a
yeah.
'70s. It made it look like a '70s movie. Or
Mm.
'90s movie, like standard
Yeah.
definition, and like it honestly made it feel like I was watching it on a big screen, like in a
Mm.
theater, because like it had that
Yeah,
real
yeah.
film feel texture to it. I liked it a lot. I liked the way it looked a lot. It was like deeper, darker colors, or like more rich, but the grain gave it this look. But there was another. Both of these movies did this, but this one there was like an early shot where you saw a bunch of like houses in a poor area, apartments in a poor area, and they're all bright different colors. And but it's like overgrown and a little bit dirty and rusty and whatever. And then later, when they're walking by that amusement park, we see a bunch of buildings again that are brightly colored in almost the same kind of colors, but they're very clean and they're very modern. And
Mm.
it's like this is definitely a purposeful juxtaposition. And it's like the him pretending to be like he's successful and presenting like
Yeah.
the successful version of himself, and like this reality is all much different. Um, but yeah.
Mm.
I
I wonder
think yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you, we didn't talk about this one, but it's probably what I think is one of the funniest scenes in the movie when they go to Nash's house to break up with, Strawberry's
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
and whatever. And it's so funny that what he thinks in his mind is the way to get this dude to back off is to get out of the car, get in his ear, and go, "Yeah, Google Mikey Saber right now. 900 followers on Pornhub. I fucked 1,300 bitches. You don't stand a chance." And then walks away. And it's like, what the fuck is your problem?
Yeah,
Like,
that
what are you
was
doing?
bizarre. Like I thought he had a real plan,
Funny.
and that was like stupid and bizarre. And
I was laughing so hard. I thought that was
yeah,
so ridiculous.
he's an idiot.
Yeah, such an idiot. And then he gets his ass beat in the next scene from the kid's family. Um, oh
Yes,
my god.
yes, yeah. They beat his ass.
Oh, so
And I feel like he
ridiculous.
should have got his ass kicked a little more, but at least there's that one beat down.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm surprised he didn't get beat up at all at the end, to be honest.
yeah, I was waiting for it, and they just there's like nobody wanted to touch him because he was naked. That kept coming up. Like, he was butt ass naked. What do you want me to do?
You didn't tell me I was pulling out a naked man out of bed. That was so funny.
So this premiered at Cannes, and it did compete for the Palme d'Or. I usually mention that. But did not win. And it's got big snubs at the Oscars. I believe it was it was eligible. But that's okay. That's okay. I think that's fine. I'm not like mad about it. Do you think it's better than Licorice Pizza? I don't think these movies are fair to compare. I think it is a little more apples to oranges than one would think. But
no, I don't think that these are the same. Like in that regard, I don't think these are comparable. As like just because you're having the like an age gap relationship, that these movies are two completely different films.
I agree tonally, even though they're also funny but have serious things.
Yeah,
they do have a DNA in common, but they feel differently.
Yeah, Red Rocket is more real, I'd say, whereas Licorice Pizza feels more fantasy fun.
Yes, it's more over the top. Correct. But did you like it better, Red Rocket better, or did you like Licorice Pizza?
I don't know. That's a tough call because the gripes I have with Licorice Pizza have to do with that nobody cares about this minor's relationship, but in this one I have the same gripes, but it's like technically borderline legal, so it shouldn't be as gripey. But
Miss Fan was definitely enabling this relationship by not saying that you can't fucking hang around here.
You shouldn't be behind the counter of my fucking donut shop, like fucking. But I'm torn because I do like this more, and I think we haven't gotten to scores yet, but I know my score that I'm going to give this is higher than I gave Pizza. I think.
I think mine's either the same or is slightly better, but I do think that I like this movie more. I think this movie not being so long helps, but it's not as big. Yeah. It's a smaller movie, but I don't know. It does more with less.
Yeah. I am very as I was invested in the other thing. It was more of just like a fun investment, I guess. Whereas this one, I legitimately was invested in and cared to see what was going on a lot more. I guess
I laughed out loud a lot in Licorice Pizza. I didn't laugh out loud.
Yeah, I did too.
This. I think that's what I keep forgetting about Licorice Pizza is like I was cracking up, but then like the end, I was just, like not. There was so many things I didn't like about the story itself, but boy, was it so much fun and was really funny.
Yeah, agree.
I think the story's better, and there are funny things. I think I'm cringing more than I'm laughing, but I think they're they're cousins.
Yeah,
they're comedy cousins. But all right, are we ready to score it? I think we're ready to score it.
Hey, I'm ready. I'm gonna give it a 4.
I think I'm also giving it a 4. I might have marked it as a 3.5, but I believe it's a 4. Oh, I for some reason actually have Florida Project as a 5. I'm noticing on my on my thing. So it's a 5. I'm giving it a 5 also, and I'm giving Red Rocket a 4.
I think it deserves it.
I agree.
Rightly so. It's good. It's just not as good as Florida Project, and it's because of length for me, at least because of length, and I didn't have any emotional connection point in this movie, other than it was just fun. It was funny and it was very investing. Like I was very invested in the film, but it's missing that thing that really like fucking pulls me in, like that Florida Project has.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for this Sean Baker episode. I did want to mention that Sean Baker is also the creator of the IFC and Fox show called Greg the Bunny. That was Puppets. I don't know if you remember it, from 2002 to 2006. They had a spinoff called War and the Ape on MTV with puppets.
Oh. Interesting.
I never watched it, but I heard of it. I've heard of it because like this Sean Baker guy has to have been around a while, a long time. But all right, I think that does it. I think that does it for this week's Best Boys. We will see you back next week. I don't think we know what we're doing yet. We should
Nope.
try to make a habit of deciding before we start. Like, we should talk about next week before we start this week, so then we can mention it at the end of the episode instead of figuring it out. Nah, that's something that I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to post about it, or we'll surprise you. So make sure, if you want to follow along and watch along with us, make sure you're following us on Facebook, Best Boys Film Podcast. We're also on Instagram and Twitter at Best Boys Film Pod. I try to make sure I keep up and let you know what we're doing, and if there's any changes, any release things, and also some fun memes. Also, you can follow me at Slob Thomas and Kory at
With a story.
Kory with a story.
Story.
And Mr. Hollywood, he just came back from LA itself, and
Yeah, I'm gonna be out there a lot more now that the work year has started up again. I forgot to mention earlier. I worked with Susanna's son on Wednesday. I'm shooting behind the scenes for a new show called The Idol, and she's one of the supporting characters on there.
Well, there you go. There you go. See that? Kory's just one step away from Sean Baker. You're one degree from Sean Baker, Kory.
That's pretty cool.
And Simon Rex.
Oh, that's even cooler.
Dirt Nasty.
Dirt Nasty himself. I can't believe that he's Dirt Nasty. I can't believe all of these revelations that happened today. But
yeah, that's what I love about the show, is I get to pull these little facts out for you and blow your mind. And we'll have to do some prep for next week. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next week, and you have a good day.
Thanks, everybody. See you later.